Hey everyone, Mark here from TST Industries back in the garage, and behind me I have our all-new third generation 2025 Yamaha YZF-R3, and on the table in front of me I have a wide array of front turn signal options. If you are interested in receiving a full comprehensive breakdown of all of our different turn signal options for this bike, including mounting adapters and wiring configurations, please be sure to check out our product feature where I break down all of our offerings. But this is an installation video, and in this video I'll be guiding you through the installation process of our LED front flush mount turn signals. This is a very straightforward installation process. We will be pairing this with our plug-and-play harness converters. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, to begin this installation process, we do need to remove the signal shrouds located here and on the right side of the bike. That means removing 3 push pin fasteners. There's one here and then 2 on this face, one right in front of right beside the fork tube and the other closer to the rear. And then we also have 2 of these bolts located right here, which we can remove by using a 4mm hex bit, hex key, Allen key, or T-handle. So let's go ahead and do that now. In order to remove the push pins, you press down in the center, and then you can pry up, removing them from their holding feature. Just like that, we've removed all 3 fasteners. Now let's go ahead and remove these 2 bolts. Now, as you saw, I lifted up on this rearmost section and it actually freed the bodywork, or the shroud from the bodywork. So that's actually how we are going to remove this panel. You'll pry upward gently from the rear and then follow it along, just like so. Once you get to this front portion and that is released, you will pull outward and it will come off of the bike. Now, it is important to note that in the center here, we have the right panel overlapping the left panel, and there's a friction fastener post located in the center that locks into the left side. So I'm gonna hop on over to the opposite side, remove that hardware and that panel, and then we will continue. Now we will follow the steps for loosening the shroud from the panels, like so. Voila. Now, as we start pulling towards the rear of the bike, you can see everything is coming undone. We will now separate these 2 panels, or the 2 shrouds, and carefully maneuver it out. And you can actually see here, at this point, you can see the post that I was referring to, the friction fastener post, and the grommet that it coincides with on the left side panel. Now, the only thing holding this shroud in place at this point is your turn signal wire and the connector. So we're gonna go ahead and disconnect this at this point. Just like that, this shroud is now freed from the bike. We'll repeat the steps on the opposite side. And if you're having issues with these connectors, they can be a little finicky and a little tough to release. I'm gonna show you a little hack here just in a second. Here we are. And on this side, it is important to note we actually have the signal connector and the auxiliary power connector for your USB charger. So if you have a small tool, like a small flathead or a small pick, you can actually carefully use this to unlock the turn signal connector. And what I did was I just gently pried this in between, lifting up on this center tab here. You lift in an upward fashion and that releases it from the opposite connector. Pressing down on it, sometimes it's just not enough force. Don't be afraid to use a small tool, but if you do, be very careful. And next we have this auxiliary connector. That one's pretty easy. You just press downward and then it frees itself. With OEM shrouds now removed from the motorcycle, let's go ahead and hop on over to our work surface and begin the disassembly of your OEM turn signals. Now, in order to remove your OEM turn signals from the shrouds, if you're familiar with Yamahas, this will not be a foreign process to you, but we have these rubber keepers that secure this plastic flat washer. If you pry outward on the rubber grommets, you can actually remove the hard plastic washer. And at this point, all you do is gently pry outward and your signal comes completely out of the shroud. Carefully route the wires out and voila. Now again, to repeat that step, locate the signal wire. We have this shroud or this rubber grommet located here. We're going to pull outward, and while doing that, remove the rubber or the hard plastic washer from the rubber grommet, like so. And now with your signal in hand, you can just gently pry outward and the signal pops right out. Carefully route the wires out. And now we are ready to install our TST turn signals. Now with our TST LED front flush mounts ready, we have all of our wiring configurations ironed out. We are ready to proceed with this installation. Now in this setup, I will be utilizing our TST running mate. This introduces a running light function into a 2-wire signal setup. Again, this is something that I've highlighted in our product feature. If you haven't already, I highly recommend checking that out. But on a 2-wire system like this that doesn't have sequential turn signals, you can pair it with our running mate and introduce an active running light function. And this is actually another one of those brainless products from us. Doesn't take much guesswork. In order to connect them, you just match the colors, yellow to yellow, black to black, and then on the opposite side, you match the colors again, blue to blue, red to red, and brown to brown. Now, before I get to that point, let's go ahead and actually put the signal on the OEM signal shroud. In order to do so, we will just grab our signal, feed it through. We will grab the provided washer or spacer, feed the wires through that as well, line it up, and then we will grab our plastic locking nut and just like that, begin threading it in onto the stud. Once you begin to feel tension, you are starting to bottom out. So at this point, it would be perfect if you take a step back, reposition, look at your signal shroud, envision it on the front of the bike and your orientation for it. And once you're happy, hold the signal in place and just go another quarter to an eighth to a quarter of a turn, and you've applied enough preloaded tension that your signal is locked into place. Let's repeat that step on the other signal shroud. All right, now with your flush mounts installed, you can go ahead and grab your wiring set up at this point. If you're international, you already know you do not have a running light function on your turn signal, so you will only have a 2-wire harness adapter. In this case, we will be going to the running mate, so let's go ahead and do this first. Yellow to yellow and black to black. And then we will slip the rubber insulators over the connectors to prevent any failure or shorting of the signals. And in addition to using these rubber insulators, we highly recommend using electrical tape to provide an additional layer of security. Now we can connect the running mate to our harness adapter, another one, red to red, blue to blue, and brown to brown. All right, now we do have quite a bit of length of wire here. So we are going to use the OEM wire routing channel, and we're just gonna loop it a couple times to cut down on the overall length of wire we have. Very happy with this. If you do have twist ties from your signals or from just laying around in your garage, some zip ties, you can use that as well and just create a nice bundle. Just like that, nice and neat. You can tuck it away and not have to worry about it. Now let's repeat the wiring process on the opposite side. Now with all of our wiring configurations set up, secured, and our signals mounted on our signal shrouds, we are ready to take this onto the bike and finish this installation. So coming over to the bike, we're gonna start reassembly process on the left side, the clutch lever side of the motorcycle. We're going to first reconnect the auxiliary plug we disconnected for your USB port. And next we will reconnect the turn signal connector. Now it is important to note when you're reconnecting these, you want to hear an audible click, ensuring that the locking tab is engaged. Just like that. Now we can go ahead and carefully maneuver this shroud back into place. This scooped feature should go underneath the rubber cap where the mirrors mount. And then this shroud, this interface, should sit outboard of this inner shroud located here. Now with it in place, you can see here that the fasteners are aligned with the holes here. So at this point we can go ahead and simply apply pressure along this edge, snapping the shroud into place. And now we can go ahead and reset all of the fasteners that we removed. Now for the push pins, when we removed them, we pressed down on the head so they sat like that. In order to reset them, you just push in the opposite direction and then pull out gently, ensuring that it's still stuck in, but now it's protruding from the top. And you will insert it into its hole and press on the head. We have one push pin rivet here and then two on this interface. So we will repeat that step. There we go. And the last two fasteners are the screws that we removed from these forward positions. They're black button head screws with a 4mm hex bit, hex key, Allen key head. Once we bottom out, you go another 1/8 to 1/4 of a turn, ensuring they are preloaded with some tension and locked into place. You don't want to over tighten these, as you can skip threads and then damage the fastener. So again, we're bottomed out. We'll go another 1/4 of a turn, and just like that, we are fully seated on this side. We can hop on over to the other side of the motorcycle and finalize this installation. Now the reason we started on the left side of the bike is because we acknowledged during this assembly that there is a friction fastener stud located on the right side shroud that inserts into this grommet on the left side shroud. So we needed this seated first in order to slide this fastener into place. So first we will reconnect our turn signals. And I failed to do this on the opposite side, but I should mention, during the reassembly process, before you tighten things down, you should check your work. Now to do that on this model, we will just turn it on. And you can see here that we do have a functioning running light on our turn signals. And then if we activate our turn signal, we have 100% brightness and it is flashing at the correct speed. We could cancel our turn signals and power the bike down. That was present on both sides, so we know our connections are good. Everything's locked into place. Now we can continue with the reassembly process. And you really want to take your patience reassembling these panels. This is a brand new motorcycle. More than likely, it's brand new to you as well. You don't want to break things while you're in a rush, while you're becoming a little impatient dealing with some of the fasteners. If you're not familiar with working with them, they can be a little troublesome. So just take your time, don't get frustrated, and you'll get the job done. Now on this side of the assembly, because we need to insert this friction fastener, what I like to do is actually push this shroud all the way forward, lining up the fasteners. And I like to lock these two fasteners into place ahead of time, preventing the shroud from moving forward and aft. There we are. Now, before I reinsert all of the push pin fasteners, I'm gonna go ahead and seat this, hopping on over to the left side of the motorcycle. I can see what needs to happen, and I can use my hands to guide the threaded post into the grommet. And just like that, we're fully seated. And the very last piece of this reassembly process, seating this shroud into place and inserting our pushpin rivets. And just like that, this installation is now complete. And as you can see, we have finalized this installation, successfully removing our OEM turn signals from the front of our third generation 2025 Yamaha R3 and successfully installing our all new TST LED front flush mounts. With the help of our running mate, we've also introduced a functional running light onto this basic 2-wire signal circuit. And of course, we have an ultra bright turn signal function. Really clean, you've slimmed down the front end of your bike, and you were able to ditch these OEM floppy turn signals. If you are ready to revamp the front end of your R3, please be sure to visit our website, tstindustries.com. The link to these flush mounts can be found in the description below. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to say, hey, let us know where you're watching from, feel free to do so in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Of course, we always recommend, if you haven't already, hitting that subscribe button and turning the notification bell on to stay up to date with all the new and exciting videos we have coming out for the new R3 and plenty of other models that are finding their way into the TST HQ. And if you found this video helpful, please give us a thumbs up. It lets us know that we're doing a good job delivering the message effectively to you and also helping you build confidence in working on your own machine. Lastly, if you haven't already and you're interested, stop by our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, username TST Industries. For now, this has been Mark in the TST Garage. I thank you all for watching. You ride safe, and I will catch you all next time.